Hey friends, so this video we are getting into oversharing. This is something that myself over the years I have really struggled with and I'm still working on. I've learned for me it's more so like a vibe for connection, I guess. Like it can come in many different ways. So I'm pretty introverted. So once I get around somebody and I'm comfortable, I tend to kind of get excited about having someone to speak to. Um, Especially if it's someone that I can relate to or I don't feel like judged or what have you, right? I'm a serial overthinker. I'll get in a situation and I'll be like, oh my God, what do they think? Or do they think this? Or maybe I shouldn't have said that, et cetera, et cetera. And it's something that I'm really working on. What has helped me so far has been journaling, talking to my best friend, and my YouTube channel because it's helped me connect with people that are similar to myself or have been through the things that I've gone through and they can offer, that, hey, I've been here, et cetera, et cetera. So we are going to get into these couple of videos that, give advice and everything else. And per usual, I'm going to react to it. And as always, please, you guys leave me your 2 cents in the comments. I love to hear it. I love to hear about, how you guys have gotten through things, what you guys have done, pieces of advice you guys have, et cetera, et cetera.
By talking too much in a meeting or in any kind of situation, you make people inadvertently smell weakness on you. A lot of communication between humans is nonverbal. We feel we sense something from you and it communicates and we have an impression. And people who talk a lot generally give an impression of they don't know how to control themselves. Whereas people who kind of say a little bit less, who kind of speak in riddles almost, who say, yeah, that's great, I'll think about it, or whatever, gives off an impression of power, as if they know more than they actually do. Mm-hmm. Because the game of power, a lot of it has to do with appearances. So I studied, for writing the book, some of the most powerful people in history, kings and CEOs and presidents, and inevitably they had that quality, or they knew how to control their tongue. The other thing is if you talk too much, you're going to inevitably say something stupid.
Right. Oversharing?
I've definitely done that. That's what I said. Like, I've definitely done that. And then I go back and be like, shit, I shouldn't have said that. The first person that I thought about, first of all, I love Robert Greene. I have so many of his books over there on my bookshelf. But the very first person that I thought about was my grandfather. My grandfather had a way of saying things without saying anything. He had just this energy about himself that when he walked in a room, and he was a nice looking man too, but when he walked in a room, it was just a certain level of respect that his energy commanded. And my grandfather was not a person, like, he could hold a conversation, but it had to be of substance. Like, he wouldn't just talk to talk. And if people around him were conversing or something, even if he felt like he had something to add to the conversation, if he wasn't brought into the conversation, he really wouldn't speak. That's one thing I always remembered about him was nothing stupid ever came out of his mouth. That's one thing that, like, I always admired about him. And the older I get, I definitely see that. I've definitely made that mistake of oversharing. And then it blows up in my face later, whether it's just somebody that's mad and they're like, oh, that's why this happened to you. And it's just like, I own it now. When people do, get like at me about things, which not so much anymore because I'd like to think that I've mastered making people feel comfortable without making them feel comfortable because they know my business, if that makes sense. But when it does, or when it has come up, now I have to just own it and be like, you know what? They wouldn't know that if I hadn't told them.
Is how you leak your energy, which is why privacy is energetic protection. There's no need to tell people more than they need to know. The less you reveal, the more they can wonder. Moving in silence is powerful, and it's how you maintain a peaceful life. This is how you vibrate higher.
Here's an obvious. If you constantly have to tell the same person the same thing over and over and over again, and they don't change, it's not because they don't understand you. It's because they don't respect you.
How do you untell something? You can't. You can't put words back in your mouth.
Have y'all ever been talking to somebody and then get like an instant feeling of regret because you realize you just overshared?
Mm-hmm.
And then it haunts you all day long because you gave a person information that they did not need,
Mm-hmm.
that they did not need to know. Well, that happened to me today, and I have been thinking about it since it happened. Like, damn, girl, why didn't you keep your mouth shut? Why did you need to say that? Like, why do you talk?
People talk shit about everybody. People talk shit about fucking homeless people. People talk shit about babies. People talk shit about flowers and trees. Motherfuckers who can't even be out here defending themselves. Things that and people will talk shit about this CarMax. They be like, yo, why this CarMax naked? This CarMax need to go put on some clothes. This CarMax need to do this. People talk shit about everything. If somebody's talking shit about you, irrelevant. People talk about everything. Even things that can't defend themselves. People talk about animals. People talk about all these different things. People have opinions on the most mundane, stupidest things. Things that haven't done not a thing to anybody. So if people are talking about you and people are doing things, you get to decide if that matters to you. You get to say, do I really care? Yes or no. Ask yourself, do you care? Yes or no. And if you do care, that's okay. Let's go down the yes route. Oh, they're talking about me. Yes, I care. Let's figure out why I care. I care because, oh, they were important to me. Or I care because I'm feeling sad about my situation. Or I'm feeling already down about my situation. Okay, so if you're feeling already down about your situation, let's figure out why you're feeling down about your situation. Let's get to the real tea. Let's get to the bottom of this. Because you don't really care about what they got saying, what they got going on. It's something deeper. It's something deeper. Let's get to the bottom of this. Ask yourself, okay, what is the content of what they're saying about me and why am I so pressed about it? What am I feeling? Am I feeling anger? Am I feeling like I need to defend myself? Am I feeling like they're right? Am I feeling like they're going to spread rumors about me? Am I feeling this way? This? And all these different things have different ways to cope with them. But ultimately, you just have to make sure that, the overall solution to all of these different outcomes and avenues is to tell yourself, there's nothing I can do to change their perception of me. There's nothing I can do to change their opinion of me. But if it's hurting my feelings and it's making my opinion about myself shift, I need to ask myself, what is my opinion of myself? Write down, what is your opinion of yourself? And does it align with theirs? Yes or no? It doesn't. Because you're amazing and we know you're amazing. And if they're not calling you amazing, then their opinion, irrelevant. Y'all know that TikTok?
I know I cannot be.
Okay, so I added this one in because, like I said, for me, my like oversharing definitely came from a place of, I guess, like I said, looking for like a connection, vying for a connection. When I realized that all I was doing was giving people, like I said, more fuel to the fire. And the older that I've gotten too, I've realized that if it doesn't, even if it's something where it's not giving people fuel to the fire, you're creating a trauma bond. So it's like, oh, this happened to me. Oh, this happened to me too. Oh, let's be friends. And it's just like there's nothing good that comes out of that. That is what I added that in for, because a lot of the time, we're trying to connect. It's obviously no one's just walking up unless you have like something's wrong with you. No one's just walking up to somebody just randomly sharing a fact about themselves or telling their quote unquote life story just to do it. People are humans thrive on connection, and so we're trying to connect with each other, but there's obviously better and healthier ways to do that.
The only one. I do not want to be friends with nobody that I used to go to middle school with, elementary school with, or high school with. I don't want to see y'all because I know for a fact if social media wasn't a thing, the last time I would have seen these people would have been in 2018 when I graduated high school. There's no reason that the girl that I used to sit beside in math class that I never talked to, I'm friends with her on Facebook and I know she has 3 kids and I know she's about to get married and I know her father just passed away. There's no way. There's no way I know all of this about this person that I have no contact with. I haven't had a conversation with this girl since 2018, but I know all her business. That's why I'm like, I don't want anybody from my hometown to be on any of my social medias, because it's like, why are you in my business? Why are you checking up on me and I haven't talked to you in 5-6 years? Why are you a monitoring spirit? Why are you worried about me? Because like I said, if social media wasn't a thing, we would not be talking and you wouldn't know anything that's going on in my life.
Stop oversharing.
I still deal with that now. And it's hard because the majority of my social media is for my business. Like the good homegirl, that's my more personal. But it is very weird. It's a very odd feeling that I get when I see people from my past or people that I know for a fact don't rock with me like that. And I'm just like, oh, you're just here to see. But there's nothing to see. My life is boring. You know what I mean? Like, especially on my good homegirls. So what I notice happens now is that they may not follow, like, let's say it's an ex-client, right? They may not follow You Pay I Slay, but they're all in the views for the good homegirl. And the funny thing is like, there's nothing that you're going to find there. Like, okay, on this page, yes, we talk about life experiences and things like that, right? Or we talk about current events or whatever, right? But like on my Instagram, the only thing that's on there is like every now and then I might upload a selfie and then my like weight loss journey. But other than that, like, and it's funny because like the way I feel about those people is like, I don't even know you anymore. I haven't talked to you. I graduated in 2008. I don't even know y'all anymore. Some of these people, y'all, I don't even remember their first and last name. I just remember their faces because I'm good with faces. Like, I'd have to go back through my yearbook. It was people when I was in high school that would say hi to me every morning, and I would be like, hey, you, because I did not know their name. Yeah, so I definitely can relate to that. It's odd. And then, you know, I think for myself, those parasocial relationships scare the shit out of me because people have these whole ideas of who you are and what you're supposed to be, and they create this whole narrative in their head about who you're supposed to be. And then when you don't live up to it, it's like you're like public enemy number one.
Talking too much can create unnecessary warfare in your life. We saw it with Joseph.
I agree.
He shared the plan and purpose that God had for his life, and his brothers who had that information attempted to sabotage the plan of God. We have to learn to navigate the lines between honesty and privacy. Sometimes we're the ones giving the enemy the weapon he needs to hit us exactly where it will hurt. Some seasons are more sensitive than others, and when God is about to do something, the enemy will thrive off of information. What intel can he get on you to sabotage the plan of God? As a previous oversharer, I asked the Lord, I said, God, what can I share and what can I not share? And he said, only share what I've already redeemed. The enemy cannot use what I've redeemed against you. Ask God for strategy in this season when it comes to who to share certain information with and what is safe to share.
Things you might have thought was your personality, but is actually your trauma response, part 5. So let's talk about oversharing. Maybe you are the person that overshares and can't help but spill every little detail about their life, and then maybe afterwards feel a little bit of regret and think, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Now, the truth about oversharing is that a lot of people who tend to overshare want to fast track their relationships and build that close connection without that hard work of building trust and consistency. And this happens because, similar to someone who is needy, they have a void within themselves, and they have a deep desire and need for closeness and connection. Without that closeness and connection, they feel a bit unsafe. They might be feeling anxious, their body's in flight or fight mode, they feel a little bit jittery. So subconsciously, our brain tells us that in order to feel better in that moment, we must find that closeness and connection. And that is why we overshare, because we feel like we're connected and close to that person in that second. It's like a false reality, because either you just met them or you don't really know them, but you're telling them this much. And it's in a sense trying to build that closeness and get connection quick. Another common behavior similar to this is having deep conversations right away. I hope this helps. Follow for more.
I don't want to be your friend if you're not telling me all your business. And let me explain to you why. I'm an oversharer. That means I like to tell my friends all my personal business. Yes, I do not have boundaries. I do damn near the same thing on the internet because I don't like feeling like people have things that they can throw in my face. There's never gonna be an aha moment for anybody, because I'm gonna tell you I did it before you even find out. Period. That's just how I am. I feel like the type of girls who are in friendships and will listen to you tell all your tea and all your business and be tapped into everything you got going on, but then hold back when it comes time for you to be like, yeah, so what's going on with you? Like, oh yeah, are you dating so and so? Like, oh, are you still friends with this girl? Like, you know, like the tea. And they're like, oh, nothing, like nothing, and you know it's something. To me, those are the type of girls who post dirty panties on Twitter. And let me tell you why. You know how it's those friendships and the girls fall out, and one of them posts the picture of the other girl's dirty panties? It's like you was already plotting to not be friends with this girl. Why would you even stop to think to take a picture of this girl dirty panties?
I get what she's trying to get at. I feel like she is I don't know this young lady personally, but I feel like Winter is the definition of someone who is not yet healed. Because some people are just genuinely to themselves. Now to get to what she was getting at, I feel like, baby, if you got post dirty panties energy, you gonna have that whether you got this here or not. Like that doesn't mean anything. I've been in friendships with people where they get mad, we fall out, and they tell everything that they think they know, and I don't say anything. I'm a person that feels like you make yourself a liability when you do that. So you make yourself untrustworthy anyway. So if you fall out with somebody and you go on this smear campaign after, even if you weren't the problem, you're gonna make me think that you were the problem. Like, I'm gonna look at you funny anyway because I just don't like how you get out. Like, I don't believe, like I said, like, I do understand because I used to be an oversharer and I was doing that as a means of like connecting with someone, and it really was just giving them the ammo. But at the same time, like, if we just both oversharing together, that doesn't mean, like, I think where she's coming at with it is like, oh, if we both tell each other's business, now we both have leverage over each other. And I just kind of feel like if you build or base a friendship on that, like, it's a disaster waiting to happen anyway.
So to me, when you're in a friendship and the girl is not telling you no business, but she all ears when it comes time to for yours, she's preparing for y'all to fall out. Just like the dirty panty posters.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just what, that's just 1 + 1 is 2.
Stop telling everybody everything. Insecurity. They don't need to know. And more importantly, psychologically and in general, this kind of hurts you more than it helps you. Fine to get advice from people, but when you're starting something, you have an idea or a vision, and you go and tell all your friends what that idea and vision is, psychologically, your brain is tricked into thinking it's already been done because you're talking about it. You're talking about the results that it's gonna create, or how big you want to get it, or how genius of an idea it is. And it's good to put those thoughts out into the universe and just be really positive about what you have, but build that on the back end and then talk about the results. Talk about it when it's about to be released. And then generally speaking, everyone doesn't always have your best interest at heart. I would hope most people in your life support you and love you, but you're going to meet people along the journey that you just don't click with, and you really don't know how that could turn out with the information that you give. And everyone does not have to know your next move. It's actually encouraged. Move in silence so that you can know how hard you did this for yourself. Because then when you start telling people about everything that's going on in your life, it then becomes external validation, and now you feel like everything that you told people has to come true because they know. You could work on something for 4 years and never tell a soul, and it just doesn't work out then. But then 8 years later, it really works out and blows up in whatever you wanted it to happen. Be mindful about what you say because everyone doesn't need to hear it.
Once you stop oversharing, you will become such a powerful person. Like, y'all not tired of having everybody and their mama in your business, everybody knowing everything about you? Like, I always say, people can't ruin what they don't know. And half the time people be knowing stuff because we motor mouth our mouths away and be telling people information that they really don't need to know. You could relate to people and talk to people and build, genuine connections with people without telling people your whole entire life story. You really have to learn how to maneuver with certain people, and when you could really open up, and when you just got to keep things very surface level, very cute, very just basic. And I'm not saying be this antisocial weirdo, like nobody's saying all that, but instead just speak less on things that people can ruin. Personally, I don't even feel like I need to have everybody in my business. Like, I tell people and I share information with people what I want them to know. Like, if you know something, it's because I want you to know it. Outside of like a couple people, I keep things very cute, very surface level, very high key, because that's all it really needs to give.
If you're an oversharer, you've come to the right place. Here is my checklist.
I love her.
Shut your mouth. And it's really practical. Before you share any piece of information, I want you to ask yourself these 5 questions. Number 1, is this an appropriate piece of information to share? Sounds obvious, but that's why it's the first question. Because it's a really fundamental question. Number 2, and now we're really getting to the critical stuff. What am I hoping to achieve by sharing this information? Is it support, solution, sympathy, attention? Clarify that in your mind. If you're looking for sympathy and attention and even solutions, speak to a therapist. Number 3, is this a safe place to share this information? The workplace with your colleagues is not a safe place to share such information, but the setting of your therapist's office is. Number 4, does this person have a record of stewarding sensitive piece of information correctly? Basically, can I trust this bitch? If not,
period.
you're closed. Keep it moving. Just Because we always need to think about worst case scenario, we need to ask ourselves, if this piece of information gets leaked, what are the potential ramifications of that? I know, good, isn't it?
Okay, I'm glad we left off on her. So I will say a number of things on this topic, right? First and foremost, for myself, the way that I still slip up. It's still a work in progress. The thing that honestly stopped me from this or has helped me kind of not share so much, honestly, was getting my feelings hurt. Getting my feelings hurt. I would tell people things in confidence, and like I said, they'd throw them back in my face. Even my own family members, like, and that was what made me say, just, you know what, I'm good. I have a family member that used to be like my go-to person. I'm talking about since I was a kid, and she really had me believing that she was my safe space. But every time I told her something, the whole family knew. And I was just like, okay, yeah, so I can't say anything to you. And so even like now as an adult, she really doesn't know much about me at all. Like, she knows my kids. She knows of my kids. She doesn't even know my kids or have a relationship with them. Like, it's like that. Another thing that I was thinking about, like, I've really gotten to a place where I'm mostly like that in general with like everybody, but my family specifically, because, you know, they're the ones that kind of hurt you first. And so I'll never forget, like, I went through a really, really, really like tough time, like a dark night of the soul tough time. And it was so life changing and soul changing for me, honestly, you guys, to where it was almost like God just zipped my lips. Like, there was nothing to talk about. It was nobody to talk to. Like, I didn't want anybody's suggestions. I didn't want anybody's 2 cents. I didn't want anybody checking on me. I just wanted to go through what I was going through by myself. And I've been like that since. Like, yes, I do talk to my best friend. But the reason why I like speaking to my best friend is because when we are going through tough times, we're going to pray. There's no, I'm going to go tell such and such you went through. We don't do that. And we actually had a friend in the group that did some stuff, and some things came out, and it very much gave, okay, so we can't trust you. And it just kind of further solidified, like, that's what that, okay. And then the very last thing that I personally want to speak on that wasn't said in here, but I'm sure it's in another video, but whatever, is when you are dating a man, to just remain as mysterious as you can. I'm not even going to say be deceitful, but just remain mysterious. Every single gentleman that I have ever been I've ever been vulnerable or honest with has always found an opportunity to throw those things back in my face or treat me according to what has happened to me in the past. So for instance, if someone asks you, oh, why did you leave your last relationship? Oh, because he wouldn't stop cheating on me. Well, in this man's mind, he automatically assumes, so why is she expecting more out of me when she let this nigga play in her face for 5 years? Unfortunately, that's just how they do us. That's how they think about us. I was in a relationship once where I told, like just in the talking stage, I told him some things about my past, and I'm talking about years later, y'all. Years later, a random conversation. They're like, "Oh yeah, so what happened between you and such and such? How did that happen again?" And you're sitting there like, "Where'd that come from? Where'd you get that from?" Nah, because I was just thinking that, you XYZ, but like when it come to me, and it was just like, what? And all I could do was just sit there and just like eat that, because okay, you wouldn't have known that if I didn't tell it to you. You know what I mean? And even with that person, like, it took me, I want to say like 6 or 7 years of even knowing that person to even address like my childhood pain with them. So I just, for myself, like I said, what I'm doing now, like I'll talk about experiences on here with y'all or whatnot, but like when it comes to like the real like nitty gritty or the sensitive things for me, or just things in general, right? I do like this young lady was saying, like, what am I sharing this information for? And also, if it's something where it's like what I've been starting to do now is I utilize the notes app on my phone, y'all, like nobody's business. So the reason why I like to do that is because let's say that I'm in a mood, right? Instead of picking up the phone and calling somebody, after I pray and talk to God, if I need to move this energy up out of my body, maybe I get on that notes app. I talk to my own phone. And then what I do is once I get it out of my system, I delete it so that I don't have to see it, deal with it, none of that ever again. Also, if I'm feeling away or something look a little shady to me, I started to do that also. I put it in my notes app and be like, okay, so I noticed this and this ain't sitting right with me. And this is what I feel like I need to do, but I'm gonna sit on it for a little bit. And then when I come back to it, if I still feel how I feel, then I'm like, all right. But I'm just learning to I just keep shit between me and God. Like, I don't really talk to my parents about it much anymore. You just get to a place where you just be like, you know what? I'm gonna move how I'm gonna move. So it doesn't even matter. Like, I don't need nobody's, like how it was the lady that was talking about how it's a trauma response. Like, and I can definitely relate to that. You don't need any external validation. You don't. If somebody did some fucked up shit to you, you know that somebody did some fucked up shit to you. You don't need nobody to validate that what this person did to you was fucked up. You know what I mean? So that is all I have for you all today. You guys are always welcome to get in the comments and let's talk about it. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.